The following show and its content are the responsibility of the show's producers and participants.
Information related in this program is not meant to substitute medical recommendations. Before starting a treatment program, you should consult your physician.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
That's right. Welcome to the Couch Live here. Another beautiful Friday at WPSN99.com where we
stream solutions.
You were ready for that. That's right. I am street certified dope Dr. Louis Delgado here with you each and every Friday. It's a beautiful Friday, like I said, here at New Smyrna Beach, the beach. So if you've never been to New Smyrna Beach, don't worry, don't come. Kind of like it nice and chill. Anyway, go to Daytona. Yeah, go to Daytona. Go to Cocoa. Go to Miami. Go to Jacksonville. I don't care where you go. Go to Clearwater. Go to Siesta Key. They like to say they have the most beautiful beach in the world. Go there. Go to Clearwater. Or I already said that. Go to Panama City. Don't go to New Smyrna Beach.
What a great ambassador for New Smyrna Beach you are.
Isn't that awesome? I just like it chill, man. You know? As a matter of fact, when you go around, that's the first thing the locals told me when I said, yeah, I'm moving here to New Smyrna Beach. They go, and they made a face. And I said, well, you don't like people moving in? And they go, nah, I kind of like it small.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's why they said that. I'm not sure what the real reasoning was, but that's what I was told. Anyway, like I said, I'm the street certified dope Dr. Louis Delgado here with you. By the way, did you see this new thing? I don't know if you can see it on this YouTube. Look at that. It's my new necklace. It's the actual symbol for the Now Matters More Foundation, yes. The shield. My brother and his family were in Mexico for vacation, and the same guy that did one of his jewelry pieces when he was down there last time he was there, like, who has a jeweler? Like, my brother's so bougie. You think I'm bougie? So so anyway, he goes down to Mexico and his jeweler and he just showed him the symbol.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thoughtful enough to put it on a Mexican coin, an official Mexican coin, and deface it. It's not like you're going to lose any value. It's still, it's a Mexican coin. I'm Mexican. I can say that. Don't say it, Trinity.
Sure.
Anyway, there's Trinity, the Dharma guy. Hello, Trinity.
Hey, what is up? And I gotta agree, it is a beautiful day. I love rainy days, and so today's rainy and cloudy and overcast, and I loving every minute of it. And it wasn't like 100 degrees outside.
Loving every minute of it.
Hello.
Anyway, you want to go ahead and introduce our sponsors real quick, -1, because today is a special day and we'll introduce a new sponsor. But can you go ahead and introduce our sponsors so they can see why we can go a full hour without commercial interruption?
You know what? I'm so glad you asked. So starting it off, as usual, I'm going to start with Retreat Behavioral Health. A bunch of fantastic facilities located mostly here in Florida and in Pennsylvania. You have Journey Pure, basically the entire Southeast, and other treatment facilities. And then you have Orange County Drug Free Coalition, been with us since day one.
Yeah, 20 years. 20 years they've been a sponsor of the Couch Live.
Then you got Now Matters More Foundation, of which, of course, you are the founder and the president.
Yeah.
You can see more about who we are, or you can donate at nowmattersmore.org.
Yeah.
Or you can call 833-NOW-MATTERS. And then
Matters?
I'm trying to enunciate.
I like it.
And we got Sport Subaru South.
Yeah.
Very excited for them, though, because Sport Subaru South, their biggest contribution to us at the moment for the foundation is they're having an event called Share the Love, and it's from November 15th to December 31st.
Right on.
And they're giving $250 per car sold during November 15th to December 31st.
It's coming up.
And then Subaru is going to match that, so $500 per car.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to need you as the 1%er to go and buy like 10 cars at least.
I gotta start. That means I gotta start driving a Subaru Trinity.
That's what. Not just give them to people. Be like Oprah. You get a car. You get a car. You get a car.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we have.
You're not done. Hold on.
Well, we have one more. We have one more, but we're gonna, I guess, introduce them when we make the phone call.
All right. Yeah, we're introducing a brand new sponsor today.
We are pretty excited about it.
Yeah, very excited about this, actually. Again, we spread our wings a little bit more. A national grab, you might say.
A national grab?
A national grab. Because, back in the day, especially when Orange County was, the main sponsor. And back in the day, I used to have sponsors like a mortgage company and things like that. I had a pizza. They used to give away a pizza every show for the Doponics question.
Well, I know who I want as a sponsor now, but we haven't gotten them yet.
Yeah, we will.
We need to.
Yeah, and then so it's grown to we have more national treatment centers and in companies that support the programs that we do here at WPSN99.com. And we're more shows that. We're not just the Couch Live anymore. This, of course, is the Couch Live that focuses on addiction and recovery, but we also have other shows like Lemon Squeeze, which are the ladies talking about female issues and female empowerment here on WPSN99.com. We got Steve Moderano with his show Recovery Radio out of Pennsylvania. And then we have Dharma Time, which is you, the Dharma guy, and I sit in with you. Yeah, well, we flip the roles on that one. I love it. I love it. So,
and then we do, I promise, for everybody who's listening, we do have a sports show that we've done.
Yeah.
We just haven't officially rolled it all the way out yet.
No. Right now it's just for those
it's
in
on
the
hiatus.
know. It's like, you gotta be a friend.
That's right. Still, I do.
Smack Talk Sports.
Exactly.
Anyway. All right, let's get started on the show.
Yeah,
Couch Live.
Let's do it.
Here's what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about Trinity a lot of times. First of all, how many times have you heard people that want to get clean and sober and say, you know what, I just need to go to detox. If I just get
all the time.
detox, then I don't really want to go to rehab. I don't want to go to treatment.
Yeah, all I need is to get clean. That's it. Yeah, I need to get sober and I'm good.
I just need that jump start.
Yes.
Because I really can't take off a month. And everybody's got this 30 days mentality.
Yes.
There's 28 days, whatever.
Yeah. I prior to even coming into this world here.
Yeah.
That's all I always heard. And I was you've seen it in movies, right? Like, there's always this addict that's having a hard time, and then they, like, handcuff him to a radiator, they lock him in a room.
The Johnny Cash method?
Yeah, and then 4 days later, they're magically okay, and, they finish we're good. Like,
that's all they needed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's what's portrayed out there.
And then after that, you had the newer shows, like 28 Days.
Yeah.
They would say you go to rehab and then everything's better.
Yes. The newer shows then is miracles happen. You go and your first time through.
And by newer, we mean the last 30 years.
Yeah. You go in and your very first time through, you have this amazing epiphany. And and not 29 days and not 27 days.
28.
Exactly on the 28th day.
Yes.
All is well and you're cured and you're ready to go and change the world.
Kumbaya.
Exactly.
Kumbaya.
And where exactly did the number 28 come from? I think insurance made it up. But where did the 28? Isn't that the Minnesota model?
History. Yeah, there's a whole history of that whole thing.
Like I wanted to be there the day where they were like, oh well, yep, that's it, 28 days. 28 days. That's it. We've established.
In today's model, in today's world of insurance, you're lucky if you get 10.
Yeah.
14 or whatever. And everybody's trying to grab each other's days.
Well, wait a minute. I thought I had insurance. I thought everything was perfect.
I remember I was an outpatient I had a private practice for over 25 years, and I remember having to make the call every 3 days or so, every 3 sessions or so, to get more days. In my early part of the career, when I was in my early 20s, I'd make the mistake, and they go, well, how's he doing? And they sounded like they cared. The guy on the phone sounded like he cared today.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Goes,
great. We don't have to pay.
How is John doing?
Yeah.
And I'd say, you know what? John is doing really good. I'm really proud of him. John's working his steps. He's got a sponsor. Yeah. He's going to meetings. He's so much different than last week. I think he's really getting it. He goes, great. How about then let's cut him loose.
Yeah, payment.
Let's see how he does. Done.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I can't get another 3 days? They go, well, you said he's doing good.
Yeah.
So then you had to learn how to, so staff, tell the client how well they're doing and encourage them to do better, but never tell the insurance company they're doing good. Only tell the insurance company all the negative.
I remember the stuff after groups. I had to write down like who did what and how the affect was and whatnot. And I was had to make sure not to be like
focus on what needs work.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't bring that enabling attitude into the paperwork. Don't bring the what do you call it, the bleeding heart part of you. Like, that's why I always feared hiring social workers. Right. Like when they had LCSW behind their name, I said, just know that paperwork wise, just focus on what needs work.
Yes.
Don't lie, just focus on what needs work. Because as soon as you talk to the paperwork as if you're talking to the client, like, he's doing really well, he's doing really good.
Done.
Insurance not paying.
Yeah.
Anyway, went off track.
Good times.
Good times. Anyway, so we have a new sponsor today. So let's get them on the phone. So you go ahead and talk to the people. Like, get them on the phone. I gotta get them on the phone.
I get to watch the guy mess with the AC now.
Uh-oh.
My arch nemesis.
Don't let him do that.
My arch nemesis is touching the AC controls as we speak.
Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
All right, so ready? I'm going to get him on the phone.
Let's do it.
You're supposed to be introducing.
Okay, I'm introducing Ed McDonough from Gatehouse Treatment up in New Hampshire.
Right.
And I think he's watching, too.
Good afternoon.
What's up, brother Ed?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. You're on the phone live with the dope Dr. Louis Delgado and, of course, the Dharma guy, Trinity Phillips, on the couch live, WPSN99.com, and you are Ed McDonough.
That's me.
Gatehouse. And we said it right, McDonough?
McDonough, yeah.
Yeah, because Trinity is trying to use words like wicked now and all kinds of stuff.
Wicked smart.
Yeah.
Wicked. Yeah, he's a wicked smart guy.
Yeah,
there we go.
Hey,
See?
look,
There we go. He came
kicked
out real quick.
His accent came out real fast, Trinity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try not to frighten the people at home, so try to keep it at bay.
Well, one of my best friends of all time, Kevin Healy, out in L.A., still works out there for Sony. When I was out in L.A., he's one of my best friends, and he's from Boston. So I always like, why guys from Boston and I get along?
I'm Southie.
I like them. Because they're like a little rough and tumble. They're not that white guy that black guys like to imitate. You know, like when they imitate white guys, they go, "Hey, how are you doing?" That's not a Boston guy.
No.
Yeah, we're just trying to get by. Just trying to survive.
Right on. All right, Armando. So tell us a little bit about Gatehouse. Gatehouse, our new sponsor for WPSN99.com. Trinity, put it on you. Tell us something.
So something.
Well, you were making a symbol over there. I
Well, I
don't
was
know what
telling
you were saying.
you, we have a listener said it's hard to hear the guest, so we need to turn it up.
I got to turn it up?
I was telling you to turn it up.
Oh, were you? Let me see. Go ahead. Keep
Turn it
talking.
up. Sure. So Gatehouse Treatment we're in Nashua, New Hampshire, about 45 minutes north of Boston. We have a few different levels of care. We do PHP, IOP, outpatient, with attached community housing, sober living housing, and we're a 6-month program. And we've seen a lot of results. So we've been around for quite a number of years. We got over 15 alumni with multiple years in long-term recovery, working on staff as well. Really integrated in the community. We're active. We believe in altruism as well. And we tend to be 12-step focused. A lot of our clients are 12-step focused. So you mix that with the clinical side of things, with the DBT, CBT, working on some trauma-informed therapy, you get a result of a healthy client.
Right.
What makes us a little bit different is we focus a lot on case management services. So with the current opioid epidemic, a lot of our clients tend to be in the younger 20s.
Yeah.
So we focus on like almost the life skills part is probably better than any place I've ever visited to, working on resumes and punctuality and mock interviews and getting them to volunteer. You know, every client that comes in is going to do a minimum of 20 hours volunteer in a week before they get back to work and stuff like that. So we're really just trying to grow them into adults. And if they are of older age, we're trying to grow them probably into the age that they're supposed to be at mentally. You know,
I've been trying to do that for years.
Yeah. Clearly, my hats go off to her because she's got a very hard task. So,
ain't that the truth?
Yeah. So,
God bless Dana.
My wife is actually here, so I'm not saying a word.
Yeah, we know that. She's got it tough.
Woman is a saint.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's got it so rough she comes with him.
Yeah. Is that a leash on the desk?
Exactly. This is my babysitter.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I love it.
But yeah, we try to take the client that comes in, rocking and rolling, and be able for them to, like, we call it bloom where they're planted. So I love when alumni come from all over and they don't want to leave Nashua, and they're involved and they're sober and they're helping other alcoholics or drug addicts and kind of setting their foundation down and living life,
Nashua.
So
I don't think I've ever been in Nashua.
Never even heard of it personally.
We got to get up there, Ed. We got to go up there. See, we got to do a couch live show from Nashua. So Trinity and I have to come up there and do a show where you're actually sitting in with us live.
I have a couch in my office, so it works out.
Yes.
There he goes.
What color is it? What color is it?
It's black.
Oh, see,
black.
here it goes. Well, actually,
I like him already.
Before we get too far into the show,
what's up?
We tasked him with a question.
Oh yeah.
Well, I want to see if he got it.
Okay, so just so everybody, what were you gonna say, Ed? Let me give out the question first.
All right, you give out the question.
All right, so we called Ed before the show. We checked the phone lines, make sure all the phones worked, and we gave him a question because he's from the Boston area, right?
Yes.
And if you're from the Boston area, if you're from that New England area, you have to know this person's name. He's a great friend of ours. Those people that have watched the show for years or know Trinity and I very well or know the foundation very well will know the answer pretty easily.
Yes. My wife knew
But he said he knew baseball. He said he was a Boston Red Sox fan. So here's the question.
Well, somebody of his family actually works at...
Oh, that's right. Fenway
so
Park.
He better get this right.
That's right.
Otherwise, you're out of the family.
That's right. So it's which pitcher, which reliever gets the credit for breaking the curse of the Bambino? So go ahead, Ed.
So I used a little common sense because you gave me a hint that it wasn't the closer.
That's right.
And there was only like maybe four relievers that whole playoff series.
Right.
And I know for a fact it wasn't Mike Timlin because he would have been more of a legend. He kind of got run out of town a little bit, but I think it was Kurt Lasansky because he got the win in Game 4, which against the Yankees, which kind of turned everything around. So
okay, you say the name again because I think you have it, but I think you're saying the name wrong. So try it again.
Kurt Lesnack, maybe. I butcher last names for a living. That's why.
I can't wait to call him that next time I see him.
Man, yeah. Dude, if I had I should call him on the other line. I should call him on the other line and say, this is the way this guy says your name. It's Curtis Laskanik.
Laskanik, okay.
But you have it. That's right.
Yeah,
That's close enough.
Yeah. That's why us Boston guys call everybody Guy. So we don't have to worry about last names. So.
Yeah, that's why I call everybody brother and everybody's, what's up, girl? Because it just makes it easy. I forget names all the time. So, anyway.
You always say what's up, girl, to me.
What's up, girl?
Yeah.
It's a habit.
My name?
Yeah. No, it's a habit. It's just a habit. If you do it to everybody, then you ain't got to worry about ever remembering a name.
I call everybody buddy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there you go. What's up, buddy?
Yeah.
So anyway, Curtis Laskanik, the great Curtis Laskanik. And then he left Boston after that 2004 winning the World Series, and then you guys burned up his house to break that curse because you guys got rid of all your Boston players. Yeah. After they win the World Series, you get rid of them.
Yeah,
and lose some of them to the Yankees.
You got to make money somewhere, yeah.
Like our other friend Johnny Damon goes to the Yankees after that. What's up with that?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love Johnny Damon and what he did in Boston, but I think his arm was turning into like a rubber band, so I think they wanted to get rid of him.
Hey man, when you come down, make sure that I introduce you to both these individuals.
Oh yeah. Well, they would. I mean, Boston has a reputation of being like the hardest on their players. So,
what about Strawberry?
Yeah, we might as well do the trifecta. How'd you feel about Darryl Strawberry?
He was a Yankee, so I mean,
I
root for two teams: the Boston Red Sox and anybody that's beating the Yankees. So, yeah, there
you go. So
he was great baseball player. I love him now. He's done a lot of work in
recovery.
In what we do, so I mean, my hat goes off to him. As long as he's not wearing a Yankees uniform, I don't have a problem.
All right, chances are you meeting all three of these people when you come down as one of our major sponsors and come down for a golf tournament. You're going to probably meet all three of these guys. So
I'm sure they'll be real happy. So no, I mean, I love them all. I mean, it's a business. I get it. I love them all. So they. Especially the guys on the old 14.
Very PC all the time.
Backpedaling.
Backpedaling.
Yeah. That's a CEO for you. See, that's when Ed turns into CEO. Let's talk to Ed before he became a CEO of Gatehouse, shall we? Ed, what qualifies you to know anything about this business of addiction in the first place?
In
the district attorney's office?
Yeah. So
Tell us that story.
I took a job working, and I wasn't an attorney, but I was probably on my way to law school, hopefully working for the district attorney in Massachusetts in the county. I was in Norfolk County, and at that time I had a part-time job in the pharmaceutical sales business.
Okay.
So sold things like OxyContin and oxycodone and
devil
marijuana. marijuana before it was medical grade.
Right.
So I was obviously not living a healthy lifestyle. I had a bad drug habit.
Right.
And I was still like putting on the show, wearing a short and tie, sitting in Superior Court, a pocket full of OxyContin, watching people get arraigned for a pocket full of OxyContin.
Yeah.
And eventually it caught up to me that I got arrested and charged in that county by the same district attorney for armed robbery.
Wow.
And went in and out of short-term treatment stuff. So I would go to detox, 14 days, 15 days max, and then I'd be right back out using again. Tried Suboxone, didn't work for me. Tried methadone, didn't work for me. All that stuff until kind of the last go around was when I got arrested. I was on bail, and the condition of bail I think was I go to a sober house, and I ended up with someone that was in the same neighborhood. We kind of knew a lot about each other and grew up together, and that was the original Gatehouse sober living house. So then after that I got sober and took some get well jobs and went to work at the state hospital in Massachusetts in the detox unit for a few years, and kind of came back with Nathan Irvine, who was the founder of Gatehouse, and he wanted to grow it into another sober house, and it kind of just went into there. We wanted to add the clinical services because I know for me, I was going to see a clinician when I was at I still see a clinician almost 9 years later,
right.
A therapist, because at this point it's just someone to bitch to that doesn't say anything back, but
don't get married. Don't get married then.
To work on those those things that maybe a sponsor wasn't qualified enough to work, or didn't know, or I didn't feel comfortable. I'm a big believer on the 12-step side of things. That helped me a lot too. But we wanted to be able to mix. We wanted to be able to give our clients the best options, and it was almost like cafeteria style. So I got to visit a ton of places, ton of different states, saw what worked, saw what I didn't like, saw what we could do better. And we were given we had a clean slate, so we just decided to add rules, take away rules, do stuff until all of a sudden these, I call them kids, and they weren't much younger than me, but they all of a sudden they started staying sober and doing well and had a year or two, and it was like, oh, I think we might be onto something, having a formula, and it's not all us, right? I'm not, right. I'm not the great I am, but hey, we have this formula in this program, and it's just enough structure that it's not boot camp, but it's not just do whatever you want, I think, and I think that translates even now to clients. They know we love them,
Well, I like one thing that you mentioned that got my attention was you say get well jobs. I like that you said it like that, because I think early in recovery, when you're kind of shaking it all off, you do need to take some get well jobs. Just get well. It has nothing to do with what the job is or what the profession is, or and that kind of bleeds into what we're talking about today, that 28 days. Some people feel like they just go to detox and it's enough, or they just go to 28-day program and that's enough, and then they want to go, well, I got to go back and get my career started again or whatever, and you're still healing.
Yeah. 28 days, every time I had, no effing idea what was going on. It was like getting woken up and someone punching you in the face right away and hand you a cup of coffee. Life hadn't changed. I did. And the reason why I used was because I hated the way I felt during life. So how am I supposed to just kind of rush back, And a get well job, it was the lowest paying job I ever had in my life. It was working at Dick's Sporting Goods. Right. And I knew I wasn't ready. A couple weeks into it, I think I almost got fired because I said, I sarcastically probably snapped back at the manager who I probably was older than at the time. But it just go to show me I had to hone those skill sets again on how to be compassionate, caring. Hard work was never. I never ran away from hard work, but also you don't run the show anymore. Right. You never ran the show.
Right.
You just thought you did. So.
In my case, I remember having to get used to having FICA take money out of my money and not knowing who FICA was. It was hard to work legit. It was like, Jesus Christ, I work hard and I'm making nothing.
Yeah,
You know?
and I literally gave everything away, so I had to take like public
Yeah.
transportation there, and like and all those like eating humble pie every day,
Right.
you know, made me like a better person.
Right.
But at the time, I couldn't see it. And the 28-day thing, like I've read a bunch of articles, and you know, written by people that are wicked smarter than me, and I don't know where they came up with like where someone just like magically threw 28 days. Like that's it's not even a full month.
Yeah, it's such an oddly specific number.
It's not even a full month.
It's so weird.
And how many days are you getting now? You got all right. So Gatehouse has in network and out of network. All right. So so you have a perfect picture now of what the real difference is. Number one,
so,
without a network, you're able to get more money, so you're able to have one level of staff, and then the other in network makes less money. So it's like, how do you provide the same level of service to two treatment models that get complete different money?
Yeah, I mean, it's careful. The in network, it's new enough for us that we're still figuring out. The out of network, like our belief is we don't let insurance dictate, you know, care. So if the insurance company says they have 20, I think the average is like 24 days. They get 20 days of PHP. Like we're gonna figure it out and eat it because our PHP program is 30 days.
Right.
So that client, we're not gonna step them down. You know, I worked in the detox and I would hate that. Like I'd get a call from the program director when I first started as a case manager, and it was like 11 in the morning. They'd be like, "Insurance isn't paying for this client anymore. He's got to go by 3 o'clock." Like, we had him discharging on, you know, next week. Like, he had 3, you know, and then you're telling the kid, he's like, "I have nowhere to go," and you're like, "Yeah, tough luck."
Right.
You know,
right.
Like,
well, you tapped into something like you said, detox. Now, detox bases on medical necessity a little bit differently because you know the person could probably die, right? so the level of care is severe, like how they're watching them and the level of professional you need watching, and even they struggle to get days, so they start eating up into your res days, your residential days, right? Yeah. So then the residential program then eats up into the PHP days, which is partial hospitalization, and then the PHP place tries to eat into the IOP days. So it's kind of hard when you're all separate facilities, but it makes it a lot easier when you're the same facility.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, because we have all the levels of care, and a lot. I mean, I don't want to get in that debate. My feeling is that the res model is going to change. It probably go more towards a PHP.
Right. I agree with that.
And I don't. There's different thoughts on that. I like our model because like we try to integrate back into the community. So you're not like, I've done those res days. I'm not sure if you guys did, but like you're spending all day in like a hallway,
right?
Or like one building, and that's not real life either.
Yeah.
So where you have to kind of start integrating into the community and social skills too, and the clinical stuff, kind of blends well. And I think that's why our clients tend to have success because they're required to do a bunch of stuff clinically, even on outpatient. You know, they're still at the clinical office with therapists 3-4 times a week. So it's like easing them into that, phase. Like people used to describe it when you'd give out like key tags or coins from one of the 12-step fellowships. Like for the first year, every month, everybody's watching you, like applauding you. Then they got like the 18th month one, and everyone's like, "Good job. We'll see you in 6 months." And then after that, it's like, "Hey, see you next year."
Yeah,
like,
see you next year.
You know, so and that can be tough. So, we like to try to integrate. But yeah, the success we've had with most of our clients, like they're here, and we'll extend clients based on how they're doing and conversations with them. There's some factors that go in it. So we've had clients with us 7-8 months, and like they do well.
Right.
You know, we don't hire alumni unless they have a year or more. So I'm not even, I know some places they'd be like, we have a bunch of alumni. Like, yeah, they're all 6 months sober.
Right.
Like they graduated your program yesterday.
Yeah, they didn't go do the get well job.
Yeah, so that's that stuff where we try. We work with a bunch of companies to try to help facilitate. We have an initiative in New Hampshire that the governor started. It's called Recovery Friendly Workplace.
Nice.
Wow.
So companies have in their policy procedures like how to treat someone and handle someone if they're in recovery in case of a relapse, in case someone calls in and says like, I feel like putting my head through the wall today. Maybe not the best to have them come in and, run the weed whacker machine or something like that. So, So we tend to work with those companies, and obviously we are one. So that kind of helps those get well jobs. But yeah, I mean that easy job where it's like less stress. Like, why would I want, even if you're well educated, you're getting clean and sober for hopefully the last time, and you work for like Fidelity Investments, so why would I want to put you right back into a high pressure situation?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
pressure
it's just
and no
setting them
fun
up for failure. Yeah.
Pressure and no fun, and you guys do the fun as well, because if you're not having fun in recovery, why would I stay here? Why would I stay sober if it's going to be boring and horrible?
Well, I'm looking at their website right now, and I see adventure-based therapy.
Yeah.
They got indoor rock climbing, kayaking, hiking, rope courses, paddleboarding, a survival day.
Yeah.
Like that's
that's pretty cool. That's when we bring in he's like an ex-Navy SEAL. And so New Hampshire has like the best of both worlds. We have the ocean, we have the mountains for hiking, and we have like a full array of winter sports when it switches over. So we're able to do some cool stuff. But the survival day is a big one. We bring in
what do you do?
A survival trained expert. He's like a Navy SEAL, and we bring him to I think it's a public state forest, but it's in the woods, and he teaches them like almost like watching like Survivor Man on TV. Like this is how you can make a fire. This is how this is how you make a shelter.
Oh boy, I would suck
stuff
at that.
like that. And he has the clients trained. And the point is that probably everyone's going to be bad at it.
Yeah.
But it's just like that team building exercise, getting everyone to work together, and it's different. It's a lot of what we find with adventure based therapy stuff is it's the same stuff that's going on in the group room.
Right.
But it looks different. It smells different. It's maybe funner to do, if that's a word.
Yeah. And it's more realistic to what you can do on the outside, because when you leave, I mean, I remember the only thing I knew how to do was everything that I did, everything I thought I liked, I did high. So I didn't know how to do anything sober.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It gives you that sense of this sense of accomplishment. I remember the first time like I went hiking and I was like coughing and wheezing the whole time. I mean, I still do that when I hike, but I got to like the top of this mountain, and it wasn't like the biggest mountain in the world, but I hadn't climbed a mountain in, I don't know, 10, 12 years maybe. And it was like, holy shit, I can do this. Like that, that a sense of accomplishment was like, all right, it's not that bad.
Well, plus
it's not that hard.
It makes you more responsive too.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's easier to kind of to take in new information when you're doing something physical or doing something cool where the person throws in teaching moments, as opposed to just sitting there shaking your finger like in a group room and like talking to somebody. You can tune that person out a lot easier than you can when you're out in the mountains somewhere.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
You're not sitting there focused on how corny and how ridiculous this is.
Well, like with my kids, like
you're being distracted mentally a little bit so you can focus. Yeah.
Well, if I let my kids do something while I'm talking to them and addressing them, they tend to listen more. Honestly,
that's true.
Than if I make them put down all their stuff and look at me face to face, like then they get uncomfortable. They tune me out.
Yeah.
So very cool.
The walk and talks is what I used to do in therapy. Walk and talk around that lake, and it used to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we do those almost like weekly. There's a nice trail system here.
Yeah.
That we did even for an hour, and it tends to like change the dialogue. And New Hampshire has a thing, and I forget what they call Florida, but they call it a certified recovery support worker. Mm-hmm. So basically, it's like a licensed case manager. They've gone through ethics and stuff, and mostly all our tech staff and case managers are one.
Okay.
But like so those guys talk freely with the clients about their own recovery, which we endorse, and they get them more intimate when they go outside, when it's not in that office setting. I mean, sometimes there's got to be group rooms, and you got to do all that stuff. But we try to integrate some of the stuff that is a little bit different, is a little bit fun. Right. Some of the stuff is also just building relationships, like how to be a good housemate or a good friend in the group. A lot of the clients like love when, Nate and I will just bring a bunch of pizzas over and watch Patriots, watch football.
Whatever.
Yeah. Sometimes we watch other games, but we don't even talk about that. And
so you guys are used to winning.
Yeah. So and even those teaching moments, like even the Bill Belichick, like we're just going to focus on today, one day at a time, do your job. You translate that to recovery. You're like, did someone go steal this from, was some football coach reading the big book earlier? And it's stuff like that, like just gotta keep it in the day. And life's a roller coaster. So it's how do we stay sober through the good times and the bad times? Because a lot of times people want to focus on like those tragedies. If you're, even if you go to a 12-step fellowship meeting, you raise your hand and say, I'm having a bad day. A crowd of people surround you. You raise your hand and say, I'm having a good day. People are like, he's not going to use.
Right.
It's like, why not? Any time good or bad was an excuse to you.
Yeah, that's right.
My favorite group, sometimes even I run group, and the favorite thing I like to do is talk about triggers. And people ask me, well, what was your trigger? Like, I don't know, opening my eyes to the day. Yeah. Because I didn't need a reason to use. I was breathing. That was the only reason I needed. So,
well, the unspoken trigger, and we do want to do a show one of these days on the unspoken trigger, is the good days. That is the unspoken trigger. The times are good. Nothing's going wrong. Yeah. That's the trigger a lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah, I mean,
like you said.
When you talk about stuff like that, that's when clients, I stopped seeing. I don't need to go to a therapist anymore. I don't need to go to those meetings.
Right.
And the worst thing that happens is they miss an appointment, or they miss that first meeting and nothing happened. Right. It's like the worst thing. Like nothing happened. Nothing bad.
That's the worst.
It's been 28 days. I'm cured, man.
Yep.
Good.
As soon as things are going too smooth, that is the worst thing that can happen. The best thing that can happen to you is that you miss a meeting and something bad happens. So you go, whoop, I better get back in real quick.
Yeah. And to get it back to the 28 days, like that's again the other problem is when the clients are relying on like family support or friend support, like their outside support that may not experience long-term recovery or know a lot about it. So after 28 days, they're like, no, he's fine. He's gone 28 days. He hasn't gone 28 days in 10 years.
Right.
He's good. And it's like, you just enabled him. Like, you just set him up for failure. Like, he can come back home. He's got to go to work on Monday. He'll be fine. And
So tell us about that conversation with the families. And when you're dealing with families and you're telling them, and you're trying to step them down through the IOP outpatient, what are some of the things you tell the families? Because there's family members that will be watching the show later on YouTube, and they, that might help them.
Yeah, so we do a lot of family work. We stay in constant communication. Obviously, if the client has to agree to it, right? So, I have to preface that with the HIPAA statement. We do a lot of family work. So the family's in constant contact with case managers. They do family sessions with a therapist. We also do weekend-long family programs. We do them once every couple months. And the main thing we're trying to do is, like, one, teach them about the disease. Try to get them to get their own help. So, like, that's, everyone's affected by, like, the ripples in the pond. Yeah. So the family member, especially if it's wife, mother, husband, like, if they're really close family members, like, you probably need to go to Al-Anon. You need your own therapist.
Right.
And then it's like setting those healthy expectations. Like, yeah, he or she is clean or sober today, but it's like a lifelong disease. Like 28 days, 60 days. We're talking about 7-10 years of manipulation, using bad behavior, BS. I don't know about you guys, but I became such a bullshit artist and a liar that if I was eating a ham and cheese sandwich, someone would be like, "Oh, what are you eating, ham and cheese?" I'd look at it and be like, "Nah, it's peanut butter and jelly."
Exactly.
For no good reason.
Yep.
There's no reason to lie. It was like natural trigger. So it's
part
like,
of it. Yep.
Getting those like old behaviors. So a lot of times with the family contact, we're just trying to like guide them through that,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times so we also found out, and that's why I call it the disease. The disease hates us, right? Mm-hmm. When the treatment team's working with the family's working with the treatment team, the client's involved, like everybody's on the same page. Almost the stuff they tell you when a trained interventionist. So when they do intervention stuff too, is like everyone's on the same page. So now the disease like can't manipulate BS. So he is doing good, but he or she did this. They haven't been following the house rules that great. They got written up. They're telling the therapist they're just going to get out of here and move to California. Right. He's telling you he's going to mow the lawn when he gets home and be a good person, like all that stuff. And when the family kind of sees the pattern, they start to trust like the individuals that like care. And we're like an open door. So like, you don't believe we're doing it? Like, come meet with their therapist. Go look at the sober living houses. Like we're not hiding anything.
Right.
So when you start to build that, and when you start getting into that like evidence base that, they've done studies that the longer the client stays and even outpatient treatment, like the better results they have.
Absolutely.
you know, and it's the same as people, you like to compare it to like diabetes a lot. But I mean, like, even if you break your leg, you have more than 28 days treatment. You're going to physical therapy for like 6 to 8 weeks.
Right.
Like, even once a week. So it's like, when you start looking at other health models, 28 days doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
To any health model.
But the problem is we don't have that X-ray machine. You know what I mean? And that X-ray machine allows people to commit, allows them to see it. And oftentimes our X-ray is your own behavior, your own past. So unless you're able to get a good therapist or counselor or a good sponsor that's able to help show the person, here's the map of what's going on, here's the real vision of what's going on, and you're able to buy into that, it's hard to buy into a longer need for help. You know?
Yeah, I agree. Some of it is, it's definitely circumstantial. You know, I think probably as a society, and I know it's starting to happen, the more the medical community starts to really treat this as a disease,
right,
you'll start to see those models. I mean, they can take the X-rays. They show. I mean, we've probably all seen them at either some group in a treatment center or some talk. I'm sure you guys get invited to all those town hall things. Like,
right.
They have like CAT scans of like the brain. Like, this is 1 month. This is 2 months. This is 3 months. Like, and there's serotonin levels and dopamine levels, all that stuff that people want to overlook. I think if, you know, personally, my personal opinion, the medical community starts to study it a lot more and teach the people responsible for teaching the lay people, right?
Right.
You know, we'll be back. We just had, and I know you guys are involved with Journey Pure. We hosted a CEU event, free up here, just to keep educating. New Hampshire a couple of years ago was ranked like 49th out of 50 states in treatment options.
Wow.
So a lot of what we do on the side and what I do is try to educate the public. And Dr. Lloyd, the medical director of Journey Pure, came up and spoke with our staff. And, you know, that's like stuff that they talk about. Like he didn't even get taught addiction medicine, and he's a medical doctor. And he has a great story. And I don't know if he's been on here. You guys have on. I'm not going to tell his story.
Right.
Because it's better when he tells it. But, you know, like that's the reality. And I've heard that before from multiple, you know, MDs.
Right.
So we're calling it a disease, but the MDs don't know anything about it. So
they don't.
You know, and I think that will, if that conversation happens and starts to change, I think it starts to change how facilities like I run it. Because I get my number one question all the time is, well, how are you qualified to run a treatment center? You know?
Right.
And I don't have a fancy PhD or MD degree, and a lot of treatment center people, owners, etc., founders don't.
Well, the only reason a lot of us hired, look, I've owned treatment centers for over 28 years. The only reason we started hiring people that were licensed rather than just certified in addictions was for insurance purposes, because a lot of the mental health professionals weren't really taught addiction either. So you'd give them an addict or an alcoholic, and they only wanted to treat half the issue, the depression, the anxiety, and sometimes that symptomology, but all of it is related. Like, you know, what addict doesn't have a coexisting issue? You know, it's hard to go through addiction and suffer and not have depression alongside or anxiety alongside or some sort of past trauma alongside. And when you're, especially if you're talking about some are sicker than others, the sickest ones do have coexisting issues. That's what makes it real tough to recover from. So it's not just as simple as putting it down like somebody would tell you, just stop drinking. But it's also not just, hey, let's deal with that inner child work and all of a sudden you're not going to use, because if you don't focus on the diseases primary as well, now you have two primary diseases, you're only treating one part of it, it's not going to help. So you gotta throw everything at it, and that's why everybody is different. And you know what's weird about of moving this needle as far as the research? It's weird how our biggest enemy, the big pharma, has actually been the one that's moved the needle, because when you study medications, you have to do a lot of research. And so a lot of our research comes out of medication research. Like, we wouldn't have a lot of these views of the brain. You wouldn't have a lot of understanding of how opioids affect the brain or serotonin levels, dopamine levels, if we didn't have the pharmaceutical industry trying to figure out how to help or how to make money from it. So it's kind of like, it's a positive and a negative. And all this push to medication-assisted treatment, you know, I know a lot of people like to attack it or whatever, but if we didn't have pharmaceutical companies trying to figure out how to improve medication-assisted treatment, we wouldn't know how long it actually does take to repair certain parts of the brain that have been affected. So it comes with its positives and negatives. And let me tell you something. In the pharmaceutical industry, they're not looking at a 28-day model. And you know what? Insurance companies have no issues with you taking medications for longer than 30 days.
Yeah.
They have an issue with you staying in treatment longer than 28 days. But they don't have issue with you being on medication for a lifetime.
Well, I have
Oh, no, it's that cost them pennies.
Compared, yeah.
Well, there's a different take, too, to go back to the 28-day thing.
Well,
Is from once again from the outside looking in, right?
Yeah.
I would say that the other kind of issue with that is you mentioned like breaking your arm or whatever.
right.
Well, if you break your arm, the problem I think is everybody, hands down, just knows that it's a certain time frame that takes for everybody.
Right.
And so the problem from the outside looking in, for somebody who isn't in recovery, looking at it, there are people who do go to 28 days and come out and never use again.
Right.
And that's the problem.
There's people that never go to treatment at all and never use again.
And so that's the problem from the outside looking in is it's hard for them to say, hey, it takes longer, because it's like, well, why not? This person did it.
Right.
To whereas if you broke your arm, everybody has to take
Right.
this amount of time.
Right.
And so the difficult part is, like you said, everybody's different.
Right.
Some are sicker than others, and I think that's the hard part for some people
Well,
to kind of grasp.
Well, here's what I think the answer is, and look, Ed, you can chime in if you want to on this, but
Yep.
I truly believe every addict is suffering PTSD. I think PTSD is one of those diagnoses that everybody responds differently to trauma, and once you've put your brain through trauma, and you've put your emotions through trauma, because it's hard. Look, when you're lying, hustling, and cheating, and trying to manipulate and all that stuff, there's emotional and internal trauma that is happening in order to get that done. And then you go out there and you can get traumatized by the world a little bit. It's not easy. So you might might look at that last couch I surfed on as being a thing, but to get to that last couch and make that normal was a lot of trauma to get there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm a big proponent that addiction starts with trauma, and there's different types of trauma. They call a lot of professionals use the big T, little T to talk about the difference between kind of traumas and
Right.
like ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, because I didn't get cigarettes put out on me when I was 5.
Right.
Other people have, and that's traumatic. But there was little stuff that happened to me that was traumatic, like for me.
Right.
And that's the thing. Another kid not getting the tricycle he wanted for
Right.
Christmas could be a traumatic experience. And
Right.
who are we to say that that's not traumatic? Whatever. And I think and once you have a traumatic event and
Right.
you don't know how to process it, yes, you do other things
Mhm.
to try to self-medicate.
Right.
And, with post-traumatic stress disorder, we see a lot of that with former military,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
They don't know exactly what they're traumatized by yet, and they're
Right.
not working on it. And to get back to even like what the pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies, the medication, but when we start looking at the clinical trials and even Suboxone stuff, like it was with therapy, like as
Correct.
a component.
Correct.
It's not just a standalone, you take a pill, even mental health. And that's the other thing is we can't see it. And that's the stigma around mental health too. And I don't want
Can't say
to
it.
forget about our, even though it's siloed, like I want to say like, oh, they're on the other side of the road, but it should be one and the same. But yeah, we have this like stigma, like just because you can't see it doesn't, it's not there. It doesn't, unless you're Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh walking around talking about everything's great. No one thinks you can have depression or anxiety. Anxiety is huge.
Huge.
I'm sure 90% of the population has anxiety.
Right, and so that's the stuff is there's all these invisible things that are happening to individuals, and when we're talking about trauma, remember not just the trauma that you walk in with before you started using, but the trauma that occurred to you while using. There's a lot of females that started using for fun and having fun, and next thing you know, they were sexually abused while in the using world. So now all of a sudden, they have a serious traumatic event, and it's hard to go talk about that. What are you going to go tell your mom? I got drunk last night and got raped.
Yeah,
it's hard to say.
Or watching your friends OD in front of you.
Or watching your friends OD, or just even knowing someone that OD'd.
Yeah,
even that's traumatic. Just even knowing someone's OD. So dealing with trauma is a big issue from before the person used, while they used, and then afterwards, all the issues that people have with loss and detachment. You're asking me to detach from my entire understanding of life. You're asking me to detach from my entire friendship
in 28 days.
Yeah. You're saying, oh, you got to leave your friends, you got to leave your old environments, you got to build new friendships, and then it's like that was even traumatic.
Yeah.
It's like, what? I got to start life over.
Yeah, that sucks.
And it was like, that's hard. I didn't even know how to have a conversation without it leading back to women or substances. You know what I mean? Like, how do you just talk about like weather?
Yeah.
The only time I talked about weather was, dude, I can't ride my bike, dude. It's hailing outside. That's when I talked about weather. You know what I mean? Like whether I could ride my motorcycle. And then trust me, when you're high, I still rode I've rode my motorcycle with no shoes, no shirt, through monsoon rains, just to go somewhere. I still did. And all my clothes wrapped up in a plastic bag.
Just to go to Flacco's house.
Just to go have a good time. I'm guilty. I've done it.
Yeah.
So the 28 days is not enough, and I think that's the main message. 28 days is not enough. It is the beginning. It is something. But, hell, the first day is the beginning. It's something. And if you're out there and you even have 24 hours clean and sober, I think the real key message is that anything you do different than what you did yesterday when you were getting high is better than what you were doing. Anything.
Yeah.
Whether it's communicating with somebody, whether it's reaching out to somebody, whether it's going to a treatment center. I don't think you have to want it initially. I think you have to want it to keep it. I think you're allowed to go into forced. You're allowed to go into treatment via intervention. You're allowed to go into treatment via legal representation. You're allowed to go into treatment via divorce. But
yeah, I mean, most of us were driven by circumstance.
Something,
I mean,
right? It's normal. How many people get clean and sober through a DUI? There's tons of alcoholics in meetings that got clean and sober through a DUI. You know what I mean? The point is what you do with it once you got it. And
the altruism of that alcoholic or addict, what we do, what you guys do, what a million anonymous people do, is just plant that mustard seed. Like, some of that best advice was like, you don't have to use even if you want to.
That's it.
And it was like, I had to think about it. Like, I had to hold on to the metal seat I was sitting on,
right,
just to shake, rattle, and roll. But like, and you were talking about that person that's 24 hours. Even if they just lie in bed all day and don't use,
right,
they have 48 hours. Like, my hat's off to.
Right.
Because I know it's how hard it is to get 24 hours.
Yeah. And listen, I did for 25 years in my private practice, I treated DUIs, and I told them, you don't even have to be an alcoholic to quit using. I don't care. I don't care whether you're an alcoholic or an addict. That's irrelevant right now. Why am I going to have this argument with you? The point is that there's a cause and effect here. If that caused this effect and you don't like the effect, let's just get through this for a while. So a lot of people, treatment professionals, want people to admit within the first 72 hours or the first 30 days that they're never going to use drugs or alcohol. I wasn't ready to make that commitment in my first 30 days. As a matter of fact, I didn't make the commitment to live a sober lifestyle until after my 10th year. 10 years. Yeah. Because my initial agreement was, I'm going to quit using for 10 years and then go back. But I remember, I was like, go back to what? Now I got a wife, now I got responsibilities, now I got a treatment centers. Now I was so freaking blessed by that time that it was hard to want to give it up. But family members that want to hear, you tell me you're never going to drink again. Tell me you're never going to do drugs again. Don't ask me that.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to use today. Tomorrow, give me another phone call.
That's it. What were you going to say? Because I was on a rant and you wanted to say something.
I forget at this point.
Yeah, me too. I forget all the time. That's why I kept going. That's why I didn't stop. Because if I would have stopped, I would have forgot.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm not mad.
Ed McDonough. And I love Nathan, man. I need to see Nathan again. I haven't seen Nathan in years.
I mean, his story is amazing. I mean, he was a worse drug addict than I was. Yeah. And then his vision to help other people, and then his own personal trial. I mean, the guy's a cancer survivor twice. Right. At this point now, and that whole spiritual outlook, and the fact that like he just couldn't wait to get back and continue to spread the message of hope. I mean, that I love the altruism fact of it, and I think that's why even insurance companies, as much as they push, and pharmaceutical companies push the medicated assisted treatment, and we started to offer it at our in-network facility with Suboxone because we're sick of people dying, burying too many people up here.
Do you guys use Vivitrol as well?
We do use Vivitrol as well. And why, and one of those reasons why that harm reduction model, it can be a great starting point for a lot of clients, but why it gets such a bad feed is I don't think you hear enough people spreading that altruism that use it. I speak at a lot of town hall things and share my story, blah, blah, all that, right? And, very rarely when we send clients to the soup kitchen and me and my staff go to serve Thanksgiving dinner, all that, like, you very rarely, see the kids at the Suboxone clinic, coming up, unless they're now our clients, which, from the new program. And I think the altruism thing is huge. I think the only way I was going to listen that you could be sober and live a happy lifestyle and have fun and still be a crazy guy and just not drink or whatever was from other people telling me that, Yeah. I mean, and from watching them experience it. And I know that. I mean, I know Nathan, and Nathan firsthand he was the only staff when I got up here. Yeah. And just seeing that, like, you could, like, be happy, joyous, and free and be crazy and wear all neon, because he went through his neon yellow stage at one point. And, like, be, like, sober, and he'd be like, is this, like, sometimes they'd be like, he's having too much fun and he's out of his mind. I don't think he's even sober, but he was.
And he sounds so sweet that it sounds fake sometimes. Like, yeah, you can't be real.
Yeah, and listen, I've literally I've literally been with him when he did a U-turn in the middle of the street and left the car running almost in the middle of the road to go into a shoe store to buy sneakers for a guy we had just passed walking with no shoes on in wintertime. Right on. Homeless guy. Like, that's the type of person he is. And that's the foundation of what Gatehouse, like, kind of go through is, like, we are the same people. There's no better than, there's no more sober than, a lot of that's just ego with people. It's we walked through it. We fought in the war. Like, follow me out, Well, follow me out.
I think that's a perfect ending note right there. It's talking about Nathan. Nathan is the vision of how it started, but most importantly, I remember when he got Foster, and I was like, man, how did he take this bright rising star from Florida, was Chris Foster, and moved him up there. And we knew something special was happening when he did that, because everybody already knew Foster had a vision too, and Foster was a good guy that understood this disease and knew how to help people understand it better too. And then
I like to think Foster wanted to come back home. He's a Boston guy. He's a Red Sox fan.
Yeah. He brought everybody home for sure.
Yeah, we're obviously I'm extremely blessed to have Foster. He's helped me and helped Gatehouse and helped a bunch of clients, and he's got that passion too. I mean, he literally, like all of us, will do whatever we can to have a client succeed. At any given time, there could be a client going in a job interview wearing half of all of our wardrobes. I don't have a shirt that fits. He's got a tie. It's all those things. Right. Because at the end of the day, I mean, I didn't know anything about PPO, out of network, in network when I teamed up with Nathan to do this. I just wanted to help people, and I kind of feel like I've been jaded. I'm kind of wish I still didn't know any of that stuff. I feel the insurance side of it, but it was just the greatest blessing I get is when alumni text me, hey, I just got a new job, I'm getting married, that stuff. Right. Like, I'm still sober today. I call them all the time, or they call me, like, just want to let you know, I just got 3 years. That's right. Like, that's right. We have a big alumni camping trip coming up in a couple weeks. Like, we do it every year in the White Mountains, and it's great. It's 50 or 60 alumni, and they're just like sober and doing well, and they're still a bunch of crazy knuckleheads, and it's great.
That's awesome. Well, we're out of time now, but we definitely have to continue this conversation up there in Nashua, up in New Hampshire. We've been talking to Ed McDonough from Gatehouse. He's the CEO up there. Look forward to meeting him. Thank you so much, Ed. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you, guys, and we'll get you guys up here. So
absolutely, your information will be right here. When people see this on YouTube, it'll have your website and your phone number. So awesome for those watching on that. But thank you very much, and we'll continue our conversation, like I said, with you when we're up there.
Awesome, thank you, guys.
Say hi to everybody for us, man. Thank you.
Keep passing it on.
All right, bye-bye.
All
right. So Trinity, I'm sorry I went long, brother. Final words?
I think you guys said enough. I'm just excited to have them on board.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm very excited about Gatehouse and everything they can offer.
And for the record, 20 days is not enough.
The 28 days, really? Come on. 28 days is a movie. Exactly. It's a movie. It's kumbaya. It's not real. But if you have even just 24 hours, it's a hell of a lot better than what you had yesterday. Thank God. And we love you all. If you need help, 833 Now Matters, and we can connect you with a program like Gatehouse. That's 833 Now Matters. Tell us what the issue is, and if Gatehouse is the right fit, of course, we're gonna put you in contact with them. Anyway, from all of us here on the Couch Live, adios, amigos. It's time for a taco. Goodbye.
And that was without even a single drop of rum.
That was awesome.
He really grows on you, doesn't he?